All right, since Facebook is doing Instagram for kids, I'm here to pitch some other really good adult things, but for kids, like kid colonoscopies, right? Sometimes you get stopped up, even if you're under 13. Ooh, how about kid juries where kids served as juries on major crimes, but major kid crimes, and also major kid Law and Orders, and kid Chicago Med and Chicago, just a whole kid Dick Wolf universe. I think I'd enjoy that. And then what other thing? Sports, but for kids. Right? Kids sports. I think that'll work at some point. What else? What else? I should have written something down. Kids that can also go to space. Kid astronauts. Right? Okay. I got all these ideas. I'm gonna write them down. Send them to the WGA. Don't you dare steal them.
It's news time. Delivering to you the news you didn't know about, the news you didn't care about, and the news you didn't know you cared about. With host, Chad White. Now, here's that host, Chad White.
Welcome back to News Time. I'm your host, Chad White, and this is the filtered news you didn't know about. Imagine a place where kids under 13 can post all the photos they want. Pics of Bakugan and chicken nuggets coming up with every flick of your thumb. Now imagine predators commenting under all those posts. That's probably what's going to happen when Instagram Kids arrives. Yes, Facebook's best app is going to be spun off for kids, whether it's a good idea or not. And trust me, it sure as heck is not. Everyone with sense is telling Facebook to back off, but the company is not listening. The plan to make this app was announced earlier this year. Big players telling the Mark Zuckerberg-owned company a kids app is bad include the over 3.5 attorneys generals. Attorney generals? One of those has to be right. 44 different AGs wrote a letter to Facebook telling them kids won't comprehend the nuances of what they find online. To get an understanding of why Facebook is doing this, you have to know their past purchasing behavior. The social platform bought out companies like Instagram and WhatsApp and others when they were creating products that Facebook couldn't compete with. Every company does this. Google does it, Apple does it, Microsoft does it, AT&T, T-Mobile, literally everyone. But some companies do it more aggressively than others. In Facebook's case, Zuckerberg and his team purchase companies that are doing well enough to disrupt the space. Facebook tries to create a competing service, then one of two scenarios occurs. A, Facebook buys out the company and brings them into the Facebook fold, i.e. Jiffy's integration into Instagram, or B, Facebook's competing service is better and the other company falls into obscurity. See Snapchat. A is more likely than B. Back in 2014, Facebook made its biggest purchase in WhatsApp, costing $19 billion, but paying dividends years afterwards as the most used chat app. Note that founder Jan Koum would depart just 4 years later. It's not like we enjoy seeing Facebook become a juggernaut, but they kind of earned it. No one's mad at Disney after it bought a competitor in 20th Century Fox. It meant we get more Marveling and Spider-Man, and we all know we can't have too many Spider-Men, all white and all less funny than they should be. And now Disney has over 40% of the U.S. box office. When Facebook purchased Instagram in 2012 for $1 billion, it was the first big deal they'd ever made. 6 years later, the founders of Instagram, Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger, left the company, literally months after the WhatsApp guy. This seems to be a recurring theme, heads of acquired companies leaving Facebook. This was during a time when Facebook was first accused of user data and foreign interference corruption. Originally, there was fear that Instagram would go the way of, what's a popular app that disappeared? The fake beer drinking app? That can't possibly be on anyone's iPod Touch anymore, can it? Also, iPod Touch? There were concerns that Instagram would die. It didn't exactly die, but evolve into a different beast. But the heads left, and it probably wasn't on good terms. The Instagram branding disappeared when the photos were shared to Facebook. Push notifications for Facebook were sent to Instagram apps so that users would return to the Facebook app. Execs were afraid IGTV, the ill-fated YouTube clone, would distract from Facebook Watch. All of these and more are legitimate reasons to leave. And I can't and truly don't want to get in too deep into the changes Instagram went through leading up to the founders leaving. So if you're interested, I urge you to check out Casey Newton, Kara Swisher, and Kurt Wagner's reporting on the subject, as well as Newton's full timeline heading into the departure. Now that we know where the issue stems from, let's get back to why we're here. Kidstagram. Ooh, that's a good name. Quick me, register it with the WGA and mail it to myself. The New York Attorney General, Letitia James, succinctly puts everyone's fears into correct wording. A kid's version of Instagram is dangerous and will undoubtedly hurt its target audience. This isn't Kids Bop remixing some of today's hottest music. This isn't Ariana Grande and The Weeknd's Love Me Harder lyric, can you feel the pressure between your hips? That was changed to can you hear the song singing in my heart in Kids Bop 29? What were they thinking? The Weeknd for kids? I can't even listen to him alone without getting too horned up. I'm all jacked and ready to go right now just talking about him. Facebook has repeatedly said Kidstagram is a good idea. They insist safety is the utmost priority. Oh, and no ads. Meanwhile, I'm getting ads for medicated lube. Lucky bastard kids. It's already hard enough to protect kids online. Does Facebook need to complicate it more? The answer is unequivocally no. The idea is bad, like so bad. I won't even sell it with a joke. Don't make Kidstagram Facebook. It's unnecessary. And I added 7 additional S's in unnecessary in the script, and like 3 other D's in additional. I can't spell. Kids don't need to share photos. Not everyone needs to be a part of the Facebook fold. It's time we look not just at Facebook, but at the tech industry as a whole, because this additional stuff is unnecessary. Speaking of unnecessary, like how many takes I just had to do for this last friggin' part, why don't you subscribe and check out one of our other videos? Of course, you can head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where there are so many great interviews with your favorite comedians that you have to click on them and read them or watch them or listen to them in order for me to do more. If you want to hit us up on Instagram and Twitter at cpluscomedy, me, Instagram and Twitter at Chad Black White. Like us on Facebook. Listen to the Constitutionals podcast wherever you get your podcasts. And I'm going to get back to doing my Andrew Cuomo impersonation. Remember me? I touch dames, baby.